Hi guys, it's Brittany here helping you build a bigger lifestyle and a bigger income. And today I want to remind you all that it is time to lock in, get focused, and start building up your FU money account. Yes, your FU money account. Some of you may not have heard of this before. This is something I kind of came up with back in 2020 during the pandemic. And now that I'm a mother and I am a wife, it gives me two more reasons why I need to have a private, secret, quiet, this account doesn't even exist to me, account of money. So guys, back in 2020, I was pregnant and everyone was working from home. Everyone was scared. We were in a global pandemic. People were getting sick and dying left and right. And I was about 6 months pregnant. And at the time, my marketing firm that I was working for refused to go 100% remote. Obviously, I'm scared. I'm thinking about the health of myself and my unborn baby, right? The baby that I was baking in my belly. And I was commuting to work every day, about 45 minutes, give or take. And I was bringing my own laptop. It absolutely made no sense to me. Everything that we were doing within the office, we could do at home remotely. The entire company was bringing in their own personal equipment. And it just got to a point where everyone was getting sick around me and I was scared, and I just had to put myself first and my baby first. Well, I took about 3 months and I saved 100% of all of my checks. And one day I woke up and I just told my boss, F you. I quit via email and I never came back to work. And that's when I launched my business. I launched my course, and you guys know I flourished and took off from there. But that was a time in my life where I really had to pivot. Even as a mom, now I have 2 children, and at any given point, I need to be able to take me and my children and either create a better life for us, put us in a better situation, make sure we have a roof over our head, a vehicle to get around. Like, I have responsibilities. I have 2 people counting on me. Their livelihoods literally count on my work ethic. And so that's why that FU account is so important, is because if anything were to happen, I need to have money put aside where I can pick up me and my babies and we can go. No matter the circumstance, no matter the time of day, no matter the fucking what month it is, I need to make sure I have that account. As a wife, nobody wants to talk about this. I think we never talk about if things were to go left when things are good, especially when you're newlywed, when you're in the honeymoon phase, when you are in love. But at the end of the day, mama did not raise a fool. I also have that FU account to take care of myself, to cover my own ass, my dad would like to call it, to make sure that, I married a very successful man that's making over 6 figures, that's the head of our household, that pays all of our bills, he's our provider. But if that man ever lost his mind, I need to be able to afford to say F you and get up out of there, and I think every woman should have an FU account to cover themselves, to take care of themselves, to be able to change their mind about anyone, about anything, about any place, to literally change their circumstance. That FU account is so important because it gives a woman confidence. It gives a woman options. It makes you feel better about yourself. You're able to sleep at night knowing if I am done wrong, I can change my environment, change my circumstance, move, leave, vacation, pay for anything new. If it's not an emergency fund, because I think an emergency fund is specifically for if your tires blow, if you're late on rent, if you need to buy a new car, if you need a down payment for a new apartment. Like, an emergency fund is literally for emergencies. That FU account is when your back is against the wall, your ego is disgusted, and you have no choice but to make a change for yourself that you never intended, that you never expected. That FU account is an account where you hate to have to do it to someone. You hate to have to pull this money out and use it on someone. You hate to have to switch up and change their plan and pivot. But you have that account to make sure that you always have an escape plan, a getaway plan. You know, you have the money to get out of certain situations. You know, that FU account is if you ever have to do what you got to do and then bail yourself out. Shout out to all my Scorpios out there. If you're a Scorpio, you should have that FU account fully funded and ready. That FU account is if you are a happily married woman and your spouse decides to lose his damn mind. Okay? You never intended to use this money, but you got to do what you got to do. That FU account is if, you know, I don't know, your child ends up with an opportunity of a lifetime and someone may feel like they can't afford to move forward with the opportunity, or maybe they're in a competition, or maybe, you know, they get invited to something and the other families or the coaches or whoever may feel like they don't have the funding to back them. You have that FU account to drop that money in full and pay for that opportunity in cash for your child. Okay? I have witnessed many times where my own mom, when it came to me and my brother, I don't know where this lady had this money, where she stored this money, where she kept this money, how long she was stacking this money up. But there was never a time where I felt like we were ever in a jam, where money was ever the issue, where my mom couldn't pull money from somewhere and just figure it out for us quickly. And so now, as a wife myself and as a mother myself, it's just my duty to make sure I can do the same thing and my children can say the same exact thing about their experience growing up. Like, mom always figured it out. She always had it. She always pulled it from somewhere. I don't know how, I don't know when, magically the money just always appeared. And I think that takes a lot of responsibility in order to do that. So how do you fund this FU account? So what you're going to do, if you have a traditional 9-to-5, you are going to look at like the settings of your direct deposit, and you're going to put aside, start at 10%. So 10% of your check you are going to put into a high yield savings account. You are not going to check this high yield savings account. You're not going to have the app for it. You're not going to have the card for it. You're not going to download anything. It doesn't even exist, okay? And so every time you get paid, instead of you manually moving the money and transferring the money yourself, that money is going to be transferred automatically for you before your check hits your actual bank account. Okay, so before you get paid every 2 weeks or whenever you get paid, you are automatically going to have that money being deposited into your high yield savings account. And why is it a high yield savings account? Is because in regular savings accounts, you can pull the money right out. When it's a high yield savings account or an online banking, it takes a few days to get the money, okay? That makes sure that you don't just use it for little emergencies, okay? That you can finesse and borrow the money from somewhere else, okay? The second thing, let's just say you don't work a 9-to-5, or like you don't have that steady income. This is when you are going to hustle hard to be able to fund this account on a monthly basis. Whether it's $65 a month, $85 a month, $150 is a good number to start with. Even $100 is fine. But the goal is for you to get used to putting money aside every time you touch money. So whether you do hair, lashes, you babysit, you sell digital products, you get a YouTube check, whatever it is, whenever you get money as a woman, okay, you should always get used to putting a little bit to the side. And again, this is not your emergency fund. So you should actually have two different accounts. As an adult, you should have your emergency fund for emergencies. But as a woman, you should have your FU account for the times where you have to pull that money out and make a statement and make a difference and make a change and reroute and pivot. You know what I mean? So this is your reminder that it's time for you to make sure that the money you're earning, you're also not only creating that safety net within the emergency fund, but you're creating that resource. You're backing your own ego. You're funding your own shenanigans, however you want to call it. So whenever life happens and you have to make a statement, you have the money to back it up. Okay, you know that statement, put your money where your mouth is. Now you have that account to do it without dipping into your emergency fund, because life happens. You'll lose your job, you get laid off, things just happen, rainy days come. Okay, so make sure you have 2 separate accounts. All right, so this is just your reminder. Get your money up, stack your bread, get all of your affairs in order. Make sure you're prepared to do you wrong, do you dirty, change their mind, lose their mind. You can financially make the right decisions for yourself, because one thing as a woman, where your money is funny, you cannot make quick decisions. So I want to make sure that you guys are able to make these decisions and you can fully fund it on the back end your damn self. All right, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.